Hello and welcome to another UK Nats format video. This time we are bringing you an Altergeist mirror match. So on the left you're going to be seeing me piloting Callum's Altergeist build. On the right hand side you'll be seeing Jason piloting his own build. So first off, here is Callum's build. You can see it's very much come from a background of testing against the mirror matches. We've got a lot of stuff in the main that's useful for this kind of matchup. But overall it's, it's fairly standard, just a few spicy techs in there. And then here's Jason's list. A little bit more standard in the basic lineup, but we got a lot of draw power in here with Desires, Duality, and the Knowledge there, plus Scapegoats adding for some extra potential nightmare plays in there. So without further ado, let's get on with the games themselves. Okay, so kicking off game one, I'm going to be on the left, Jason will be on the right, and he will start things off with a single set, and then pass. I bring out the Meloseek, attack in for 500 and use the effect to pop the back row. Turns out to be a strike, probably not worth wasting it on a Meloseek there. So then I set 3, and then pass turn, bringing out Anti-Spell in the standby, assuming that we don't know what he's playing. Brings out Marionetta, which will be protocoled there. And then Ash is in response to the Meloseek effect, and then he passes. Out comes second Meloseek, punching in for another 500, but there's nothing on the field to remove there, ending on another set. Play past Jason, and then back again. So it doesn't look like he's opening up cards that you can actually do stuff with. Attack again with Meloseek, and then pass. Back to Jason. Has he drawn into any of his traps that he can actually set? Or anything that he can get going with? Yeah. So he starts off with an impermanence targeting the Meloseek, which can negate his continuous effects. And then, once that has resolved, is bringing down a multi-faker. So that gets summoned, and then on effect it gets hit by an Ash Blossom. And then it swings over the Meloseek, but Protocol is played to put the Meloseek back, and then hit by an Ash there, so no searches off that Meloseek unfortunately. And obviously the Multifaker doing damage. So my standby phase, I go for a Protocol, gets hit by a Ghost Ogre, I play the Spoofing to send back the Protocol, gets hit by a Ghost Ogre, and have to end on the 3 set with the Anti-Spell. Jason's turn, he's drawn into a card, he's still got the set there, so he punches for another 12 with the Faker, and main phase 2 rotates the Faker out with a Spellbook of Knowledge. So now he's drawn into a Meloseek. Would have been nice to have that earlier on, so he just normal summons it and turns it into a Clara Rushka. So that would get him the search. It wasn't going to do anything anyway because it was just a body that was on the field at that point. It was beyond battle phase, so he wasn't able to do anything with it. Bit unfortunate drawing it off the knowledge there. So he ends on 2 sets and Clara Rushka. In the end phase, out comes the Heavy Storm Duster. Some main decked ways of winning the mirror basically, taking out those 2 back row, and then in my turn I just set 1. Back into his turn, he sets 1. Can't do any damage with Clara Rushka, so in the end phase I flip a Protocol, he's spoofing to return it into the deck. There's no response this time, so I get out the Multi-Faker, trigger it and bring out a Silk, and then I can use the Silk to bounce back this set card by returning the Multi-Faker. So then, in my own turn, I can use the Marionetta. So the whole summon of Silk was during his end phase. My own turn, bring out the Marionetta, use it to set. We'll see what we go for. Manifestation, I believe there. Now we'll probably see it come up again in a minute. You have a better view than I do of this because my software does not pre-render the video while I'm watching, so just swinging in with both of the monsters here. Turning Marionetta into Meloseek, and then debating whether or not to link someone with these 2. And in the end, I decide I'm going to link someone with both of them into a Hextia, trigger the effects of each one, in order to add back the Marionetta. And there's no target for Silk Engrave at the time. So during his standby phase, activate the manifestation, bring back the Silk. He's really in a bad position at this point. He has to set 2 and pass. Anything that he activates as a spell or trap can be negated by the Hextia. So then Silk returns one of the sets for the manifestation, which will of course kill it. Normal summon a Marionetta, and that's going to be enough damage on board to take game, just setting a protocol there. In case the game lasts a little bit longer and I have to deal with anything in particular. And then head straight into the battle phase and punch through. So that's it for game 1. Callum's build, putting in work with the Heavy Storm Duster really ripping into Jason's build, but then the draw power did kind of work out for him. He was able to get through a little bit more of his deck there. So moving into game 2, Jason's going to be able to start this one again, opening up the duality here. Marionetta, Metalseek, and Ash Blossom revealed. He takes the Ash Blossom, and then normal summons a Marionetta, so obviously instant search access, always nice. Setting a protocol there, and another unknown, then passes turn. So I also open up a duality. Gets hit by an Ash Blossom. This is probably a little preemptive of him. He could have saved that for something more important. So I normal summon the Metalseek, attack in, and then opt to try and get rid of the set protocol, which he then chains, using the effect to get rid of my Metalseek, so I get the search effect for a multi-faker there. Potentially you don't really want to be using protocol on your opponent's Metalseek. It does give them that search, which is a huge deal for them early on in the game. Not so big a deal later on in the game. So Scapegoat comes out for 4 tokens. Pretty nice being able to have all of the access to multiple resources here. And then in Jason's turn, he's going to be able to start using these tokens to make link summons. So he actually starts off by normal summoning a Silkatus, which means that his protocol is now live. Just in case there are any effects there, he opts to use the effect of Silk on the protocol and one of the sets, just in case he gets blown up by a Tarantula or something like that. So he figures, 50-50 may as well get rid of the one card there. So he brings out a Proxy then, after a Link Spider. Manifestation brings out the Metalseek for me, and then I get to trigger the Multi-Faker in hand. So this is coming down, going to bring out a Silk, and it means that we have removal to interrupt his attempt to build a big monster here. So Silk is going to be activated, just working out which card to return to hand. It will be targeting the Proxy Dragon, and I opt to take back the Faker. Potentially it might be better to take back the Manifestation, sending Metalseek to grave for a search. But Metalseek is actually really important to keep on the field, so that you can keep chipping away at your opponent's board in the mirror match. So we're not entirely sure about which target is best to return. I think we decided that the Faker was the best option because there weren't so many targets available in the deck that were really necessary for searching with Metalseek at this point. So Jason has to try and work out what to do with his board. He was expecting to have 4 tokens and a normal summon available, and instead he's just stuck with 1 Link Spider, a token, and his Silk. So he's got to work out how he's going to play into his Link summons here. At least he knows he doesn't have to deal with a second Silk effect, that sort of thing. So he turns the token and Link Spider into a Nightmare Cerberus. And then he's just having a ponder about which card to discard in order to get rid of something on my field, and which thing he'd actually like to get rid of as well. So he discards a protocol to take out the Silk. This is actually going to be really useful for him because he's going to use Spellbook of Knowledge to turn Silk into 2 draws and add back that protocol. So that's a nice +1 there. He then gets to set 2, and I believe he's going to pass at this point. So entering my own turn, we don't see anything in the standby phase. I normal summon a Marionetta. Gets hit by an Impermanence, and Multi-Faker is chained here. Ash Blossom on the Multi-Faker, but Protocol comes out, which is going to negate that because it means that well, his multi-figure cannot be negated by an Ash Blossom due to the passive effect of Protocol, and that means he can bring out a Silk, basically, with no issues there. So suddenly he's gone into a position where he has two disruptions. He has his negate and he has his bounce. So entering the battle phase, I use Marionetta to attack in. I believe I'm going after the Silk here because I want him to trigger it. So he uses the Silk to return Multi-Faker and Marionetta. And then Meloseek attacks with 500. And it's going to be using the effect targeting the Silkatus here. I don't believe he has a target at this point. So he just lets that slide because it's exactly the same as him using Protocol, except it would give me the additional search with the Meloseek. So main phase 2, I believe I just set one and pass. And Jason's turn opens up again. So in his standby phase, nothing happens for me. We see another duality come down, taking a Meloseek here. Again, as we said, it's really important in the mirror match. Just being able to chip away at your opponent's board is crucial. So he normal summons the Meloseek. Suddenly he has the ability to start pulling apart my board. So at this point when he enters a battle phase, I flip Heavy Storm Duster, taking out his Protocol and triggering a Faker in my hand, which can summon a Silk. So he's gone from having a negate and a removal to facing potential removal with Meloseek and the bounce from the Silkatus. So Storm Duster putting in additional work there, again, is really good in the mirror match. It's not great against a lot of other decks, but in this sort of situation it's really crucial. And then Silk is going to return Meloseek for both of us. And then Jason's going to attack the Multi-Faker. So now if Silk goes to grave, it will be live, it will be able to add back that manifestation. So he ends on a set 1. During standby phase, use the Protocol to bring out Multi-Faker, and then Faker is going to get to summon something, and it summons a Meloseek. So then in my main phase I can normal summon a Meloseek. We're getting a bit close to time at this point, so we are using the new end of match procedures. Again, this is an attempt to be the UK Nats format, so obviously we're going to try and go with all of the updated rules according to that. I have got a new build of True Draco which we will potentially try out if people think it's going to be the sort of thing that might be relevant. And this video is sponsored by sandwiches, constructed by bread. So making a Link summon here into Hextia, triggering the effect of Silk is chaining 1 and Meloseek is chaining 2. The search not being all that important really, because it doesn't actually put a body on board, unlike Manifestation, and so many of the targets are available in the grave. So he opts to use the Protocol to negate the Meloseek just in case, because it could potentially bring out something relevant. There's always that fear that there will be a Multi-Faker in hand. So ending on set 2 here, and I believe this is going to be the last turn, because we are getting close to heading into time. So Jason needs to sort of rush through his main phase in order to get to his battle phase and start doing some more damage. He's 1,000 life behind. In his standby phase, I use Manifestation to bring out the Silkatus. And then entering his main phase, he's just working out how he can try and put enough damage on board. So putting Meloseek into attack, summoning another Meloseek from attack. So he potentially has enough damage on board here, but then I do have the Silk interrupt, which is the big deal. So he starts off by attacking with the Meloseek. So just debating the effect of Silk, wondering which card I'm going to return to hand, I opt to return the Manifestation, targeting the Cerberus. He uses Meloseek to attempt to negate it, and I chain Protocol with that passive effect so that Silk cannot be negated. So he will get to search with his Meloseek, but his Cerberus is going to be gone, which means in his battle phase he can only do 500 damage here, and he's 1,000 behind, so he's not going to be able to do enough for game. Unless he can somehow summon another card from hand. So he punches for 500, and that is gonna be it. So we see Callum's build winning this match, potentially just due to the advantage that you generate by having those heavy Storm Dusters in the deck, which can rip into your opponent's field. It's really crucial in the mirror match. Not so good in some of the other matches, you know, it's not so relevant in things like the Sky Striker match, and obviously things like the Spiral match and stuff like that. But it'll be interesting to see how the deck evolves. Certainly, Storm Duster is crucial in the mirror match for taking apart the opponent's board. And remember to keep your Maliseeks live. Try and push through your opponent's board as much as possible. We had an interesting experience learning about what the decks are capable of within this video. But definitely it'll be worth testing out for yourself, you know, seeing what kind of build you're comfortable with. We're quite happy with the versions that we've got. I really enjoy playing with Callum's build, and Jason's been working on his own version for a little while. So definitely worth trying them both out. You can check out the links in the description. If you've got any suggestions for things that you want to see from the channel, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to check out our other videos in the UK Nats format series. Obviously the True Draco ones are kind of void at this point. If you see a Masterpiece summoned, if you don't see a Masterpiece summoned, then everything else will be working out pretty much the same, except maybe a search for a Dynamite in there, which obviously won't be in the previous videos. There is a Sky Striker mirror match on the way as well for all of you fans of the brand new deck coming out this week. So definitely worth checking that out too, and I'll see you guys in the next video.